The Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game has over 10,000 unique cards for players to collect, trade, and construct their own personal decks. But what would happen if players only had access to the bare minimum? In this series, both TheRJB0 and myself will each open a very select amount of sealed product. Once we open that product, we must build a deck using only those specific cards pulled, that's it. And at the end of each episode, we discard the entirety of our pulls to the graveyard and start from scratch with a new product. Every card counts. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Sealed Showdown. If you want 5% off any singles or sealed product, click the affiliate links in the description and use code Cimoooooooo5. And clicking the TCG Player affiliate link before you shop helps support us to provide you with more amazing content. Last episode was just peak Yu-Gi-Oh! There's really not much more to say. It was an absolute blast, and sadly, we're going back to 5D sets, but thankfully it seems like we're doing like one core set and then one side set, which I think we're doing one next episode as well, but today we are on the Shining Darkness. The Shining Darkness is a bit of a weird set. There are some interesting cards, but I don't know how this one's going to play out. I think it's going to highly depend on what synchros we pull, and possibly some specific cards as well that we'll get into. But I'm going to reserve judgment till we actually play. 24 packs, let's get into it, see what we get. And right off the bat, we get maybe one of the better synchros in Splendid Rose. This card, the reason it's good is because I believe, and I want to double check this, oh, it's actually generic. That's even better. I thought it specifically required plant tuners. There is a way to get tuners onto the field very easily this set. 2200 attack isn't the biggest, but it's big enough to hit over most things. Once per turn, you can banish a plant, then target a face monster your opponent controls, have its attack until the end of the turn, and during the battle phase, if it attacked, you can banish a plant, have this card's attack, and if you do, you can make a second attack during the battle phase. A great way to just keep pressure on the field if Robert has small things. This is probably one of the best things we could have opened with.
Wow, folks, I really pulled a Seto Kaiba in that one, didn't I? Using the normal monster rule to get 3 blue eyes and immediately losing because of it. Okay, so maybe I wasn't following the spirit of the rule, and we should be using that rule just to get access to the big boss monsters and things like that that we can use. But man, was that episode funny. Let's get into the Shining Darkness, which is a game-breaking set in the TCG, but here is weird. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Starting off strong with a super rare Trust Guardian. I don't know what that does other than the fact that it's a tuner. Quacky Mirrors Sandman is probably going to be good for getting out one attack to clear the board and then dying. It's effectively a bad removal spell. Testudo Eret Newman is a very funny card. I'm not sure if it's going to be good. And Key Mouse is a card I'm going to be looking out for a target for.
Hunter for Black Feathers, when you first read this card, seems really good. It's actually removal in a monster on a 1700 body. While your opponent controls 2 or more face-up monsters, all of the same type, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, select and destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls. So if there is a situation where Robert has like 2 of the same card on the field, Hunter of Black Feathers can actually help us equalize the board a little bit, so we're most likely going to play this. So Cherry in Mado, however you want to pronounce this, is actually one of the plant tuners in the set. Hopefully we get the other card that supplements this, but if we get more copies of this, when this is destroyed in battle, we can summon more copies of itself, which is very funny, so I'm hoping we actually pull a playset. Another Splendid Rose! Are you serious? I just love the fact that this is level 6 and it's generic. I swore this required a plant tuner, but it doesn't. Oh my god. Robert is going to have a really tough time with this one.
Pack number 2, another super rare Core Overclock. This is Quacky Mirrors support, obviously, but I don't actually know what it does. That's kind of sick. It is free attack points for our Quacky Mirror Guardian, which could be relevant. Also, we have Dread Dragon, the dragon with the weirdest haircut ever, and Chaos Trap Hole. That's a card I hadn't talked about before. This card is crazy. When a light or dark monster would be summoned, you can pay 2,000 life points and banish it. Which is nuts. Gen X Undyne, also an interesting card. This is used in combination with Gen X Controller to make one of the few playable synchros in this set, so I'll be looking out for that as well. Pack number 3. Herald of Perfection. Going 3 for 3 on hollows here that I'm probably not going to be using. Herald of Perfection is extremely strong in the TCG, and we probably can't summon it here. Battery Man Fuel Cell is potentially strong if we can draw it, and double A, and another double A. But Blackwinged Strafe is a legitimately good card. This is going to be requisite for us to get rid of some of the 2000 defenders that are in this set. And there is a Blackwing to go with it. Axe the Poomer, other than having a weird name, is a potentially playable card. The fact that its attack boost only lasts until the end phase makes it a little bit suspect, but a Blackwing Strafe is very, very good.
I also don't want to admit Black Winged Strafe. This card's actually kind of cool. It does require you to play Black Wings, which in this set, the Black Wings aren't great, but you send a Blackwing monster from your hand to the grave, select a defense position monster your opponent controls, send that monster to the graveyard. So this is removal specifically for defense monsters. So if Robert's trying to wall up with like a 2K defender or something that may have some sort of effect when it's killed in battle, at a cost of a -1, this can just take it out entirely. Although the Blackwing cards are not very good, they may be worth playing just because of this card. Quacky Mirrors Sandman is actually a payoff for going the Quacky Mirrors strat, just because it's a 1900 and it's a common, so we may consider this solely because of the fact that this is a 1900 and it's one of the biggest normal summons in the set.
Pack number 5, we have Bird of Roses. Unironically, one of the best super rares in the set because it's a normal summonable with 1800 attack. There's only one normal summonable that really consistently beats that, and it is also a super rare. X-Saber Pashul is a serious defender, but you have to have a game plan for it because it will start burning you after a little while. Ronin Totem is, of course, the card that's going to ruin this set because it has 2000 defense. Next pack, Quacky Mirrors Shield is the rare. Probably not going to be running that because I don't think we're going to get that critical a mass of Quacky Mirrors. However, second booster is potentially very strong, giving your monster 1500 attack, which is enough to get over some things. We also got Assault Spirits, which is going to be the premier battle trick of this set. It's really bad because you have to be the one on the attack, and it's a -1, but it's a battle trick nonetheless, which is going to be worthwhile for making this episode just a little bit more proactive. Next up, we have another Ronin Totem and Memory Crusher King, the main tribute summon of the set. Also, kind of sucks for a tribute summon because it isn't even big enough to get over Ronin Totem. This is such a bizarre set. Watt Cube is an interesting one. It is able to give a Thunder-type monster 1000 attack if you send it to the graveyard. I don't know if we have any Thunder-type monsters that are going to be making it worthwhile, but it is there.
This pack's actually quite good. So we have Ronin Totem, which is a 2K defender, and honestly, you know, 2K defenders in this series are pretty good. Spore is another plant tuner, so I'm happy to see this. Another hunter for Black Feathers as well. Gen X Searcher is also an interesting one. This one, it's killed by battle. You can special summon a Gen X monster with 1500 less attack from your deck. So Gen X Controller falls into this category, and I believe Gen X Controller is a tuner, which means we have access to a tuner off of this, and if Robert can't clear that, then we're actually going to be set to synchro into Splendid Rose. Okay, a second copy of Chariot Motto. Really happy to see that, because if we get another one, then that means we can just summon 2 off of 1, which is crazy. I think that's really it for this pack, though. Another Hunter for Black Feathers gives us our full playset. The rest of these cards are not really that great.
Next pack, a Quacky Mirror prototype, again with the 1800s. 1800 is a great stat line, and this has it in both sets. There's my first Battery Man AAA. Again, I'm not really sure that the Battery Man strat is consistent enough to make it worth it, but this card is there if I want to use it. Another Chaos Trapple, and my third Blackwinged Strafe is also great. Pack number 9, we have more Chaos Trapples. Revival Rose is a potentially okay card, depending on the hollows that we get. Card Breaker is very funny, but I don't necessarily see us running it. This set is just really hurting for playables, isn't it? Pack number 10, we have Gen X Searcher, another rare that may be worth running because of its stat line. This also does summon a Gen X monster, so if we have Gen X Controller, we can summon Undyne from the deck if Gen X Searcher gets sent to the graveyard. Unless it adds, that would be unfortunate. We'll have to look into that later. Another Pashul is also good.
Interesting. Another Gen X Searcher means we have more access to Gen X Controller. I'm actually really happy to see this. And we also pulled the super rare XX Saber Bogart Knight. This is just good because it's a 1900 level 4 with like no downside compared to like something like Quacky Mirrors Sandman. So honestly, we're probably going to play this just because of the body. Another super rare, Nimble Sunfish. I think we need multiple of this card for it to be playable. So we're going to have to see if that happens. It's pretty unlikely. What? 3 Splendid Rose? Are you serious? I mean, okay, like, fine by me. I'm not going to complain. That is so crazy. Also, Quacky Mirror prototype is interesting as well. Is that our third Gen X searcher? If that's the case, that's pretty sick, allowing us to have access to a tuner so easily. I think we've only pulled one Gen X controller, though, so hopefully we get more. Chaos Trapple is also a nice one. I'm not sure how many lights and darks there are. There might be some in the synchro department that this might be useful for, but I'll keep an eye on this. This is a good side deck card for sure.
And there's another Pashul, a Magidog, which is yet another monster with middling stats and is therefore okay. And there's my second Assault Spirits. Remember, we absolutely need to get 3 copies of this card. Pack number 12, we have Zero Max. There's no shot we can resolve this card, right? We also have Delta Try. I'm not sure this is a card that we can actually use, but it is there. And we do have Hunter of Black Feathers and another card with okay stats, Battery Man AAA to go alongside it. All right, we are about halfway through the set. I'm still struggling to figure out how we actually move the game forward in here, but there are options if I squint really, really hard at them.
Oh my god, then the ultra rares just keep fucking coming. That's a black winged dragon now as well. So that's a level 8 that's generic, I believe. 2800 attack is massive. I cannot believe the synchro access we're gonna have this episode. What the fuck? That's back-to-back black winged dragons. That's 5 synchro monsters we have. They're all generic too. What is going on? It's broken. The pack opener has to be broken. That is back-to-back-to-back black winged dragons. There's no shot that that has ever happened in the history of this pack opener. 6 ultra rares, 3 of them Splendid Rose, 3 of them black winged dragon. What the fuck?
Next pack, another Ronin Totem. We are fortunately full up on those. Another second booster is great. We do want to see 3 copies of this card. And our third Battery Man AAA, in case the Battery Man strat comes together. Blackwing Bombardment is an interesting card. If you have 5 or more Blackwings in the graveyard, it's just going to be difficult for us to get there with the small number of Blackwings at our disposal. Next pack, another Dread Dragon. Excellent. And our third Pashul, which is mandatory, and a third Memory Crush King, which is something, I guess. Wow, this set is so awful. I'm looking for a win condition, folks. I just want a win condition. Jackal. Actually, we have our third Assault Spirits. That is great to see. We're going to need to find monsters that we are willing to discard to activate it, but there are a few of those. Biofalcon is also an interesting one. Not sure if we are actually going to be running it, but it is there for us. Trigon may have combos with Delta Tri, but I struggle to think of how we keep either of them on the field long enough to use them.
And the hollows keep coming. Synchro Ejection isn't particularly good. It's okay if Robert synchro summons, but again, that's sometimes difficult in our series depending on the pulls. I think that's a good side deck card, though. Okay, I think we have 3 Gen X controller. I was getting a little bit nervous about this, but we also have another Ronin Totem in this pack as well, another Chaos Trap Hole. The biggest thing about Black Winged Dragon is that it's dark, so Chaos Trap Hole can take that out quite easily. I do need to be mindful of that. Also, X-Saber Palomero is actually quite good because I think it's something we can summon off of Bogart Knight.
This one is response to targeted removal, of which there is basically none in the set. Morphtronic Vacuumin is a really interesting one. Again, I don't really think that we have a way of protecting it long enough to get its effect, but it is basically Thousand Eyes Restrict once you can put it in defense. Pack number 17, Saber Vault. This is our secret rare. The hell is this opening been? I really genuinely don't know what we're doing with this. We are 2/3 of the way through the pack, and I just don't know what we're going to be summoning.
I think this is our first copy of Pashul, and I'm really hoping it isn't, because I really want a playset of this. It's a level 2 tuner that you take 1,000 damage each of your opponent's standby phases, but it can't be destroyed by battle. So what's nice is if you lead with this, and then next turn summon a 4, you can make Splendid Rose because it's a 6. So I'm really hoping we get a playset of this. What is going on? That's 7 synchro monsters! Now, to be fair, this is probably like the least playable of the bunch, because it's Infernity Doom Dragon. This specifically requires a Dark Tuner, which I'd have to see which ones are in the set. I think Gen X controller is a dark tuner, but the problem is we'd have to have 5 other stars, so the star alignment's a little bit iffy. This card is actually crazy though, because it's bigger than Black Winged Dragon, and the effect is actually quite good if you have no cards in hand, but I just do not know what's going on.
Pack number 18, we have the Fountain in the Sky as our rare. Probably not going to be running that. There's our second Quacky Mirrors Sandman. Interesting. Just realized that I've only pulled 2 of those now. Phantom Hand is really funny if we want to try activating some of the Infernity cards. I could see myself doing that, but we don't really have any Infernity monsters to work with it. Pack number 19, we have Infernity Beetle. Ask and you shall receive, I guess. There's also a Hunter of Black Feathers. So we've got a couple of 1700s. Couple of 1800s, couple of 2000s. We're getting there.
There's the third cherry. Yes, that means we have a full playset of this now. Oh my, if we lose this is going to be embarrassing. I also haven't talked about Infernity Break. So Infernity Break is one of the few really generic pieces of removal, but the problem is you need to play Infernity specifically for it to be good. Now, the nice thing is they can be in the graveyard, but the problem is you also can't have any cards in hand. If you can fulfill those 2 conditions, though, by banishing an Infernity, you destroy any card on the field your opponent controls specifically. So that is a consideration specifically to play Infernity cards to a degree, just because if you're able to pull this off, it's some of the best removal in the set.
Gen X Searcher will not do it. We're full up on Blackwing Strafe. That's going to be really important because we do need to be able to remove monsters on the field. Not much to talk about here. Another Gen X Searcher. Well, we're full up on Gen X Searchers. Great, isn't that? We have a decent machine lineup. Does that do anything in this set? All right, pack number 23. Anything that wins me the game. Black-Winged Dragon. Oh, the ghost rare. I will take that. Does win the game. That is a card that wins games. I will happily take that. This card is very good in sealed because it's got 2800 attack and it's a level 8. Level 8 might be a little bit of a difficult number for us to get to, but I have faith. The signer's luck continues to come through for me here in my last 2 packs. Can we close it out with something similarly crazy? The Signer and the Dark Signer both coming through for me. Also another Blackwing. That's really, really crucial. Yeah, I'll run these cards. Sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been maybe the best opening we've ever had in any sealed showdown ever, and we still have 3 packs to go. That's maybe our 2nd or 3rd Pashul. I really hope it's our 3rd, unless I missed it before, because that is maybe one of the best cards we can have for our pulls. 2nd to last pack, nothing too great here. I think that's a 2nd copy of Prototype, so that could maybe be relevant. And last pack, come on, baby. Just, if we get another Synchro, I'm quitting. Okay. That was a secret rare. Are you fucking serious? Saber Vault. I don't think this card is good because I don't think we have any good X-Sabers whatsoever. Each face of X-Saber monster gains 100 attack, times its level, loses 100. Yeah, that card sucks. Okay, so everything else in here is pretty worthless. If we didn't have 3 Infernity Break, I think we do now. I am speechless. 7 Synchro monsters, and 6 of them were like just 2 play sets of each of them. Unreal. Our deck is going to be looking stacked this episode. Let's get to building.
There are some pretty decent monsters in the Shining Darkness. There is one with 1900 attack. There are 1800 1800s. There are a number of good strategies that exist, and I didn't get any of them. What I did get was Synchro monsters, and so today we are playing Bargain Bin Synchro. There is basically one combo that gets you to a level 8 Synchro, and it is the following. If you have a Pashul on the field, you can use Card Breaker to special summon itself from your hand and Synchro all 3 of them off with a level 4 to get a level 8 Synchro. Is this good? No, that's why I'm only running 2 of the combo. The rest of the deck is basically the best stuff I could scrape together. We have 3 Quacky Mirrors Sandman, 1 Quacky Mirrors Prototype, very cool if I can get these in the same hand, 1 Bird of Roses, that's literally just an 1800 beater because I only got 1 Spore and no copies of Cherries and Motto. Also, 3 Hunter of Black Feathers, which is the next best attacker, 3 Ronin Totem, which is the best defender, 3 Memory Crush King, because I'm down bad for win conditions, and this guy can get over Ronin Totem if you also drew Assault Spirits. Next, we have 3 Blackwing Ghibli, the Searing Wind, and 1 Gust, the Back Blast. These are our targets for Blackwing Strafe, which is one of our few cards that get rid of Ronin Totem, as well as Pashul. The advantage of Blackwing Gust the Backblast is that it can be used with Assault Spirits, and Ghibli can be a battle trick. Next, we have 2 second booster. I only pulled 2. I'd play 3 if I had more. Next, 2 Flare Resonator. This can combine with Memory Crush King if I am in a pinch to make a level 8 synchro, and it would be pretty big at that. And 2 Watt Woodpecker, because it's the biggest thing we can use for Assault Spirits, and I really need cards that will win me the game. We also have 3 Leeching the Light. I expect there are going to be some light monsters in play this episode. The best attackers, except for your 18s and 19s, are all light monsters, and therefore I expect they will be on the field at some point. If I do not Chaos Trap Hole them, Leeching the Light allows me to get over some big things. 3 Assault Spirits is like the worst combat trick of all time, but it does the trick. 3 Chaos Trap Hole because it negates darks and lights, which are some of the best monsters in the set. Unfortunately, including my synchros. We're gonna really have to fade this one this time around to get anything out of it. Our side deck is for cheesing purposes. We have additional copies of the cards that make us into the combo. We have 2 of the Fountain in the Sky in case I bring in enough light monsters that this becomes relevant. Double Watt Cube. This turns Watt Woodpecker into a 2000 attacker for a turn, which might be relevant. 1 more Watt Woodpecker for that very purpose. 3 Biofalcon in case I need more normal summonables. 1 Zero Max for the cheese if I do find my ability to summon Infernity Doom Dragon a little better than I thought it was going to be. This would be the most funny way for me to bring it back. 1 Line of the Light Charmer in case light monsters come up really, really clutch. This is a card that allows us to get rid of them, or steal them at least. 1 Core Overclock, probably the side deck card I am most likely to go into. I can just give my Quacky Mirrors 500 extra attack, and that may be good enough. And 1 Trigon as a discard outlet for... I honestly don't know why I'm running this card. Okay, we're making this 1 more Watt Cube. Then there you have it, folks. Bargain bin synchro. Let's see if we can put together a Blackwing Dragon or Infernity Doom Dragon. It's gonna be a wild one.
Okay, bear with me. This deck looks like hot garbage, but I think this is the best shot we have at winning today's episode. So this is, I don't even know what to call this, a disaster, let's be honest. So let's just do the card by card. It'll make more sense as we talk about it that way. So first up, we have 3 Biofalcon. This, when a machine is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave while this is on the field, so this doesn't count itself, we get to add a machine with 1,000 or less attack from our deck to our hand. This is quite good because we can add second booster, which we can tribute while it's on the field to take a monster that's on an attack position and have it gain 1,500 attack. So this is like technically a way to remove stuff off the field. It's like bad exiled force if you think of it that way, but also costs you your battle phase. Next up is the 3 Cherry and Mado. This is actually fantastic because this will actually get us 2 more tuners, which means then most likely we can normal any 4 and go into Splendid Rose. This is the name of the game because I want to avoid Blackwing Dragon and Infernity Doom Dragon solely because they are bait for Chaos Trap Hole. Splendid Rose doesn't lose to that card, and so I think this is actually a much safer pick, and 2,200 is just high enough that it hits over mostly everything, so it should not be too much of a problem. We have 3 Gen X Searcher, which when it's destroyed by battle and sent to grave, specials a Gen X with 1,500 less attack in face-up attack position. That can get us Gen X Controller, which is a tuner, so if we have any other 3, which we don't have many, we just have the second booster, we can go into Splendid Rose that way. We have 3 Hunter of Black Feathers. This card is okay, but for all intents and purposes, it's just a level 4 for Synchro, and its 17 baseline stat is okay. If Robert does foolishly play 2 of the same card, then this card can actually get quite a bit of value. Now we get into the jank. Infernity Randomizer is in here for several purposes. The first reason is because I want to have some copies of Infernity Break, because this is like the best removal card in the set that is highly conditional, but it is a way to actually get rid of big things when we're in a situation where that might not be too likely to happen. Secondly, Infernity Randomizer is less than 1,000 attack, which pairs well with Assault Spirits. This is a card that after activation, treat this card as an equip card and equip it to a monster you control. Once per turn during the equipped monster's attack, you can send a monster with 1,000 or less attack from your hand to the graveyard during the damage step to have the equipped monster gain attack to the sent monsters until the end phase. The thing is, I did pull 3 copies of Infernity Beetle, but Infernity Beetle has over 1,000, so I want to actually have Randomizer here because it pairs well with Assault Spirits, and 900 is a pretty significant number. And thirdly, if we're in like a top deck war, Infernity Randomizer actually gets us a +1 if we have no cards in hand, and allows us to get more cards at a faster rate than Robert might. So this card actually could potentially have some greater implications depending on the circumstances. Infernity Beetle is a tuner, and I do recognize that, but I have 6 level 2 tuners, so I think that's probably enough for what I'm trying to do. Next up, we have the Quacky Mirrors. We have 3 Sandman and 2 Prototype. Sandman's 1900, and Prototype is actually just an 1800 body that actually has some good synergy with it. It's also a rock, so we don't need to play the core. We can just reveal this to keep the Sandman on the field, and Sandman can negate traps such as Break or Assault Spirits or things like that, so that's quite relevant as well. We have triple Ronin Totem. Ronin Totem sucks because you can't synchro with it, but it's a 2k defender which walls up against everything that isn't a synchro or something with Assault Spirits, or I guess second booster for that matter. Speaking of which, we have 3 of this card as well. Only 1 Spore. It's a once per duel effect, so I really don't want to see more of it, but there's some cool stuff we can do with this. So we can banish Cherry and Mono from grave to make this a 3, to synchro with second booster to make it a 6. We can also, if we've gone through a Splendid Rose, can banish the Splendid Rose to make Spore a 7, to tune Spore with our level 1s like Infernity Randomizer to go into Black Winged Dragon or Infernity... Actually, you can't go Infernity Doom Dragon because that needs a Dark Tuner, but you can go Black Winged Dragon. So that's really sick that you can actually turn Infernity Randomizer into a Black Winged Dragon out of nowhere. So I really like Spore in this deck. Again, it's a once per duel effect, and there's not really ways to get it into the graveyard very easily, so I just have the 1. Pashul is fantastic because it can't be killed by battle, and it's a level 2 tuner, so ideally we set this turn 1, then turn 2 summon any level 4, go into Splendid Rose, we're probably going to win. We have the 3 Gen X Controller then rounding out our deck. And then for the traps, we have 2 Assault Spirits, which I pulled 3, 2 Chaos Trap Hole. This is weird because I don't think this card is that good. If you look at the main lineup, there's stuff like Bio Falcon and Hunter for Black Feathers, but unless Robert's specifically going to commit to one of these 2 monsters, this isn't going to get a lot of mileage. I do see, however, that let's say he goes the set Pashol line and then normal summons Bio Falcon or Hunter in an attempt to get to his own Splendid Rose, Chaos Trap Hole is a way for us to stop that from happening. So that is one of the reasons why I do want to play this card in some quantity, because it may not stop the synchro while it's already on the field, but it can potentially stop it from coming out in general. We have 2 Infernity Break because, like I said, I think this card's okay. The biggest issue is actually emptying our hand, because as you can see, we're playing 33 monsters. So I'm actually playing the 1 copy of Infernity Inferno that I pulled, because this card actually gets our Infernity Break online almost immediately. We can send cards from hand to grave. This pairs well with something like Spore, for instance, and then we get to dump Infernity cards from our deck to the graveyard. So we can dump 2 randomizers potentially to get Break online, and it also lowers our hand count. I did consider playing the Phantom Hand trap card. The problem is you need to control a fucking Infernity to use that card, which I think is terrible. I don't even know why they even had that stipulation there, but it is what it is. That does it for the main deck, though. The side deck, I have triple Infernity Beetle. It's just more tuners if I feel like I'm lacking. We have 2 Memory Crush King. This card, first of all, has sick artwork. Second of all, it sucks because it can't get over Ronin Totem, but it's big enough to hit over everything else, so I think this card is, like, okay. And third of which, if Robert's playing a bunch of synchros, this card can do a ton of damage with its effect. We have 1 Tetsudo Irat Newman just for a way to stop Robert from synchro summoning, because 1800 defense is quite large in this format. 2 Leeching the Light. There are a few light targets like Bio Falcon and Hunter for Black Feathers that this could be a very swingy card. 2 Silent Graveyard, formerly known as Forbidden Graveyard. This card's good because it stops the effects of stuff like Cherry and Motto and Gen X Searcher and the like, and so being able to turn those off could potentially lead to a big swing. I've got the 3rd Chaos Trap Hole in here in case this is relevant. 2 Crevice into the Different Dimension. This is a way to stop stuff like Spore, for instance, or anything that might have any graveyard synergy. So I want to have like some number of copies of this here. The 3rd Infernity Break, because if we go with the Beatles, we have 6 Infernity, so there's a chance that this could be more live than otherwise would be. And 1 Synchro Ejection. I could maybe main deck this because synchros are pretty likely to be the move here, but at the same time, if Robert didn't pull any, then this card's not very good. But it is basically a clean out to a synchro that is almost unconditional, and we can draw this at any point. We don't have to like Chaos Trap Hole on the summon. We can draw this like 2 turns later, and it's still going to be good. Robert gets to plus off of it, but if we kill the synchro, then like that's perfectly fine by me. So I cannot wait to see how this one's going to play out. Once Robert sees I have 7 cards in the extra deck, he's already going to be immediately tilted, so this is going to be a blast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not make you wait any longer. It's time to duel. Well, Robert, I gotta say, core sets can be very hit or miss. I think this one's going to be one of the more interesting ones for sure.
This is certainly going to be a weird one, and fortunately, despite the fact that there's some, like, irritating stuff in here, there's plenty of counterplay for it.
I agree, and I think what I'm most excited about is that there's a distinct possibility that you are going to be tilted before the game even begins, and we'll let you find out why that is while we shout out the patron. It is Eluna. Thank you for the support. Would you like to pick your rock, paper, scissors, sir?
I have chosen. That is right.
Shit.
Okay, off to a good
You're not going to be
start.
as tilted as I thought you would be now.
Okay. That is 7 cards in your extra deck. That is a large number of extra deck monsters. That's
Don't
okay.
worry about my extra
That's
deck,
okay.
Robert.
It's about quality, not quantity. We will...
What about if I have both? What would you say to that?
I would be slightly concerned. Let's draw for turn. That's an interesting
All right, best
one.
of luck, buddy.
Best of luck to you as well. Main phase 1, let's just set a monster, set a back row, the classic T set to start it off, and I'll pass.
You gotta love it. You know what, buddy? I love it so much. I'm gonna do the same, but I'm gonna raise you one. I'm gonna set 2.
Ooh,
back to you.
getting spicy. Okay, now there are a couple of things that you could have back there. There could be a Pashul. You would have to have a conversion for it. It could also be a Ronin Totem, which is tough to get over for basically anything I have in my deck.
Yeah, Ronin it's weird. It's one of the only good defenders in this set, but there aren't that many ways to deal with a Ronin, shockingly.
For sure, yeah. That's one of the major deck building decisions going into this. Now, I have a way of getting aggressive. I just don't know how worthwhile it is. So I'm actually going to flip some of the monster I have face down. It's a Quacky Mirrors prototype.
Okay, sure. This card's pretty cool, actually.
It's a pretty cool card. Let's go into battle phase, and I will attack into your monster.
The card in question is neither of what you said. It is actually Gen X Searcher, and I will trigger that effect.
Okay, we've got ourselves a Gen X controller on the field. Oh boy, I think I know one of the cards that could be coming here, and I am getting mega punished for not summoning first. Main phase 2, I'm going to set a back row. I do. I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay, let's see if you're correct in that case. I'll go to main phase 1. I am going to normal summon Second Booster.
Second Booster. Okay. Yeah, I see where this is going.
And I am going to sync them up into Splendid Rose.
Oh, yeah, there is a level 6 synchro. Pretty good.
Quality and quantity, my friend. I will go to battle. We'll hit for 22.
I'll take 400.
Okay, and I think that's going to do it for me. That was a productive turn.
Draw for turn. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think that is the play. Let's try for it with a Hunter of Black Feathers.
Oh, we're Chaos Trap pulling that fucker. Get that out of here.
Okay, there it goes. And it is your go.
Okay, we'll draw. I will try to keep up the pressure. I'm going to run out Quacky Mirrors Sandman.
Oof, that's pretty good.
19 and 22.
I'll take 1900. I'll take 2200.
In the end phase, I will reveal Quacky Mirrors prototype and pass the turn.
You had it. Okay, draw for turn.
I got a pretty good lock on you here.
Yeah, I think you might have the game here. I think, honestly, you have it. I don't think anything that I can do this turn can keep you from beating me. Yeah. Oh my god.
I cannot believe it's over that fast. That's crazy.
Guess if I had predicted that you were doing the Gen X combo, because that's the only thing you would be doing with an extra deck that big, I probably could have summoned a second monster and attacked in, but the second monster I would have summoned in that case was Hunter, which probably would have gotten Chaos Trap hold, so yeah. I'm not really sure what I could have possibly done against that. Let's try going first again and see if I can pull something better out.
Yeah, I mean, if I can just have another repeat performance like that, that would be nice. But I will tell you right now, looking at this hand, I think you are safe. Okay. Good luck, sir.
Draw for turn. Starting off interestingly, I'm going to normal summon Bird of Roses.
Ooh, an interesting one. Was this a super or an ultra?
It is a super rare.
Super. Okay, yeah. I knew this was I remember reading this card throughout the entire set list, and I'm like, this card is crazy.
Yeah, this is a pretty good card. I'm also going to set 1, set 2, and pass.
2, huh? All right, I'll draw. Go to main 1 here. The annoying part about Bird of Roses is that there really is almost no way around it. It's just you have to deal with it. And sometimes that's just the way life is. I'm going to set 1 and just throw it back.
Okay, let's draw for turn. So if that is the dude bro, TM, I definitely want a second monster to deal with the Gen X controller.
Trying to say hip with the kids, are we, with that lingo?
Dude bro?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely trying to stay hip with the kids with like 2010 ass lingo. Let's normal summon Hunter. Let's go to battle phase. And I will attack in... Are there any monsters with a defense that lines up such that it's correct to attack with Bird of Roses? I don't think so. I'm going to attack with Hunter.
It is Ronin Totem.
Well, I'll take the 300 here. And I have to decide if there's a thing I want to do. I'm not telegraphing anything, Alex. I just want to be clear about this. I'm not telegraphing anything. I think I am going to attack in with Bird of Roses. I'm going to equip it with Assault Spirits. We'll move it under here because it's an equip card now. And we'll send to grave my second booster, putting it up to 2,800.
Right. And this just lasts till the end of the turn,
yes,
correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, Ronin Totem falls.
And it is your go.
All right, we'll draw. Go into main one here. I'm going to run out Quacky Mirrors Prototype.
Ooh, okay, that's fine.
Take out the Hunter.
I will take 100 with the Hunter.
And I'll just pass it back.
Okay, draw for turn. That's a pretty alright one. I think this is the move. I am going to normal summon a second booster.
Okay.
And we are going to declare its effect. To grave it goes, and we're going to pump up Bird of Roses to 3,300.
Gives you 500 more than if you discarded it to Assault Spirits.
True.
Makes sense to me.
Let's go to battle phase, and I will attack in.
I'll take it. 1,500.
Your go.
All right. We'll draw. That's kind of infuriating. Main one. I'm just going to set one, throw it back.
Okay. Let's draw for turn. If that is the dude, once again, I'm in a little bit of trouble if I attack into it without a second monster. He's level 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I thought you meant controller for a second. Controller's a 3. The dude himself that summons the controller is a 4.
Okay. I think the play here is to set a monster and pass turn.
Was not expecting that. Okay. I'll draw. Main one. I'm going to flip summon Cherry in Motto.
Ooh, this one's pretty decent.
Time for the good old Chaos Trap Hole check.
Yeah, I think I am going to Chaos Trap Hole this.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay.
And it does get banished.
Oh, it does get banished.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you. That's perfectly
relevant
fine.
Given your extra deck situation.
It is relevant, indeed. I think I'm perfectly okay running out another prototype and just crashing in... do I want to crash into Bird of Roses? That doesn't seem like a good idea. Let's crash into the set.
It is Ronin Totem.
Okay. I mean, if anything, you have to discard a card to clear prototypes, so I'm kind of okay with that. Go ahead.
Draw for turn. That does keep me on the offensive. Yeah, let's normal summon a Sandman.
That's a pretty good one. Yep.
And I will attack into Prototype.
Take 100.
And then I'll attack directly with Bird of Roses.
So that'll be 18.
And then in the end phase, I will let Sandman die, and it's your go.
Okay. We'll draw here. I think I'm just going to set one and just chuck it back.
Draw for turn. Interesting. Okay.
Very weird game we have this game.
It is a very weird game. The chances that that's the Gen X dude continue to go up as time goes on. That means that I do need to continue to maintain positive board presence to make sure that you can't use it effectively. So I'm going to normal summon Hunter with Black Feathers. Or Hunter of Black Feathers. It's got 1,100 defense, I think. Is that correct?
Maybe.
I think we go into battle phase and we attack in.
It is Cherry in Motto number 2.
Ooh.
And I will declare the effect to get Cherry in Motto number 3.
Okay, and we will clear it with our bird.
Yeah. We tried.
And it is your go.
Okay. Slowly running out of time here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to set 2, and I'll pass it back.
Okay, draw for turn. That's an okay draw. Let's go to battle phase.
Sure.
And I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to attack in with Hunter.
It is Spore.
Ooh, okay. That is a problem because you can definitely synchro summon no matter what I do now. We'll attack indirectly with Bird of Roses.
Take 18.
Main phase 2, I will set a back row, and it's your go.
Of course, you have a back row. All right, I'll draw. Main 1. Honestly, I think I am dead to Chaos Trap Hold no matter what I do. So I probably have to go for it. I'm going to run out Hunter for Black Feathers.
Okay, and we are absolutely Chaos Trap Holding that.
Okay, game 3.
Oh, got a game 3.
I felt like I was so close to finally sticking a synchro, but playing through double Chaos Trap Hole was just miserable. If I had a level 4, like a Quacky Mirror or something that wasn't light or dark, then I would have been fine because Splendid Rose herself is a wind. So Spore is also a wind. So it just played around it entirely. But I used all of my prototypes, sadly, and did not have much recourse after that. So hopefully my first shot at going first will be good enough to dictate the course of this game. Best of luck, buddy.
Oh, this is a hand.
I would agree. I am going to set 2 cards and pass it back.
Okay, draw for turn. Oh my god. Set a monster and pass.
Okay, no back row. Love to see that. I am just going to go for it. Normal prototype, flip Pashul, and we're just going straight into it.
Here we go.
Yep.
Let's
get in there.
To grave with my Ronin token.
Cleared the Ronin. All right, step 1 achieved. Go ahead, buddy.
Draw for turn. Let's set a back row. I think we have to pass turn here.
Interesting. All right, I'll draw. I'm just going to keep on the pressure. Prototype coming in. Let's hit for 4K.
Let's see. I'll certainly take the 1800.
Got something on the 22, huh?
I think I also take the 2200 here.
Okay, that's it for me.
Draw for turn. Set a monster. Pass to you.
We'll draw. That's not a bad one. Problem is now I need to find a way to get in damage. All right, screw it. I'm going to run out Cherry in Motto.
What could you summon with it? A second Splendid Rose?
It's possible. I do have 6 cards in the extra deck. Do you really think I would have pulled 2 ultra rares, buddy?
I'm pretty sure this card is a super rare, but I also don't know.
Splendid Rose is an ultra. I can 100% tell you.
Okay. All right. God, I have to Chaos Trap Hole this, I think.
Woo! Okay.
I can't let you get another synchro.
So this gets banished, sorry. So then there's, is it like Pashul? If it's Ronin, so you wouldn't do that unless you were certain that you weren't going to die. So the only options that card is that it's Ronin, and then I hit you with Prototype for 18. It's Pashul, and you'll take 1,000 during the next standby phase, and then it also could just be anything, and you're hoping I hit with Splendid Rose first so that I don't kill you. But I don't think you would have Chaos Trap Hold had that been the case. So I'm just going to do the safe play, and we'll hit with Rose.
Okay, it is What Woodpecker.
Oh, I got baited. All right, never mind. 18.
And this is a Ghibli the Searing Wind.
Okay, cool. So hit over.
Yep. There it goes.
Okay, you protected the life points. That's pretty good.
I did.
That's it. Go ahead.
Okay, there's one card that does it.
It doesn't sound like it's it.
No, that's not it. It's all you.
Woo! Oh my god. All right, so what were you trying to do?
So,
enlighten me.
If I had drawn into Pashul, what I would have done is set the Pashul. First of all, was that a Chaos Trap Hole?
It wasn't. What were you trying to do?
So, if I drew into a Pashul, I would have set it for a turn, at which point I would have had a 2.
Okay.
I would have set and subsequently sent to the graveyard, leeching the light to summon Cardbreaker.
Okay.
And then normal summoned Quacky Mirrors Sandman.
Okay.
And then synchro summoned Infernity Doom Dragon.
That's a card, and that would have immediately gotten synchro ejected out of the game. So
what is this card?
Now, this card is a super rare.
Wow.
It's not very good, but I saw that you were on possibly some synchro shenanigans, and with how good Chaos Trap Hole was, I'm like, this is like Chaos Trap Hole that only works on the synchro. So I'm like, you know what? This seems pretty good. And I also realized it's an out to Splendid Rose because Chaos Trap Hole doesn't work on it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll bring this in. This works.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to need you to be honest with me, buddy. How many
Sure.
copies of Quacky Mirror Prototype did you pull?
Just 2. I didn't pull 3.
That's slightly comforting. I pulled 1 and 0 copies of Cherry and Motto.
Oh, well, Cherry and Mottos are rare, to be fair. So
yeah, which, you know, it being a rare means there was no shot I was going to be
I was
able
about to
use
say.
it. So you being terrified of my bird was meaningless. I had 2 plant monsters in my entire collection.
well, okay, fair. But like the value you got off of that was just too good. But
For
it did
sure.
act
It
as a
worked out.
deterrent, in all fairness.
did.
Which is, that's part of the fun of Sealed Showdown, right? Is that we don't know what the other person has until we finally get to that point and realize, oh, you know, had I actually made the attack that game and realized that you had no plants, then I could have played around that a little bit differently in game 3 had we seen the card.
Yeah.
But
For
yeah.
sure. That was a sick deck you built. What were the other synchros?
Oh, buddy. Remember when I said at the beginning of this episode about you being tilted? So not
Okay.
only did I have a Splendid Rose, I had a second Splendid Rose. And if
Oh,
you happen to have a
excellent.
second Splendid Rose, I had the third Splendid Rose for
3
you.
Splendid
And
Rose!
the best part about Splendid Rose is that it's also a plant, so there is a universe that I could banish Splendid Rose for Spore, and with any of my level 1s, I could then tune those up into one of my 3 copies of Black Winged Dragon
What
or
the
my
hell
copy of
is
Infernity
this?
Doom.
Holy shit! What is
I had your synchro luck from the last 20 episodes in one. I was speechless by the end of this opening. I think I pulled, unless I'm mistaken,
Oh my God.
I think I pulled the Black Winged Dragons in succession, back to back to back. And I was like, there is no shot that anyone has ever pulled better than me in 24 packs of the Shining Darkness ever. This is unreal how crazy this is.
That
Yeah.
is crazy.
So I pulled the Splendid Rose as like maybe the first or second card in my packs. And I'm thinking to myself, this is probably the best one because it doesn't die to Chaos Trap Hole, in all honesty. So I was like, and it's also the easiest to make because 2s are the tuner level that's the most abundant, and we just need that in a 4. And most of the 2s can survive like Paschal and such, Cherry and Motto as well. So I was thinking to myself, okay, like I'm perfectly happy to have this. And then it was just like winning the fucking lottery. It just kept coming, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it was great. I was just swimming in synchros this episode, and so I got to just make a sick, just turbo synchro deck where I was just trying to get to Splendid Rose as fast as possible and just hope that that was good enough.
Yeah, I honestly can't be mad. This deck was sick. You had a way of going into Genix controller plus a 3 on demand. You had your Cherry and Mados, which would get you to other Cherry and Mados.
Yep.
This deck was really, really cool, and I'm glad to see it actually pop off. There was no shot. There was no chance.
What about you? What did you cook up?
That was it. I had one play. I had the biggest monster I got was that Rose besides my Sandmen. And then I had Memory Crush King because maybe it could waste a Chaos Trap Hole, which would otherwise be used on my Synchro monsters. And that's literally all I had to work with. I was like on Leeching the Light, as you could see, in case there was maybe a light monster in play. I was using Blackwing Strafe to maybe be able to get rid of Ronin Totem because I couldn't put a big enough monster on the board without going into a Synchro. That was my deck. I was working with the dregs. You were in a fucking like Maserati over here while I was driving half a car.
So I actually had a small Infernity engine in my deck at one point because Break is actual removal. And I figured if I get to a position where we're low on cards, if I can just have... so I was playing 3 Randomizer, 2 Break, and even 1 Infernity Inferno to like get those cards into the graveyard and get my hand count low. Because if we're in a situation where I'm facing down a big Synchro, there's not many outs, right? And I thought to myself, okay, this would be kind of neat. Also, if we get into a top deck where Randomizer is kind of crazy just because it gets us another card immediately, possibly does a little bit of burn damage to you. And Randomizer was also a 1 to go for that Spore play with Splendid Rose that I said earlier to possibly turn Randomizer into a Black Winged Dragon, which I thought was kind of sick. Last game 2, I had 2 randomizers and break in my hand and realized this is not going to work.
No.
So I sided out of those. I brought Memory Crush King in as well. I think Memory Crush King's actually fine. The problem with him is that he doesn't clear Ronin Totem, but he actually kills everything else in the set, and his artwork is sick too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but Leeching the Light, same thing. I noticed that Hunter for Black Feathers was coming up a lot, and I'm like, okay, if I just have Leeching the Light and any monsters, if he has Hunter up, like, this is just crazy. There's, like, no reason this can't be in the deck. So I took out the Infernity shit because I realized that was a bad idea. But the theory was there, and I thought it was okay, but it just didn't work in practice. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for another video. I really hope you all enjoyed. Let's go ahead and shout the patrons for all of their continued support. So shout outs to Shadow1317, Moto, Tim00x3, Cameron Smith, MBT Play Medolce, Chaotic Meatball Part 2, Pony Starks, The Synchro Guy, Dan the Man Hoban, I Ship MBT and Simo, Draconic Phoenix the Immortal, Jordan Coons, Iron Bladesman, Jesse Wood, Chris Hood, David Liu, Dylan Hunter, Cody Bretz, John Two-Base, Extremely Vulgar Man, Brody Eastwood, Zerius Business, MBT caught injecting his Fairy Lily, Carlos DT, Final Daddy, Valen Jackson, Hornet, aren't you glad I didn't say Alpha Tribute Ben 10, TC Gaming, thanks for the sleeve stat, Matthew Brady, Max, Twinkle Muncher, Eater of Crayons, Luabon, Yodabon, Helios 515, Simo's Chaos Cooking Draft, MBT funding the Iris with his Rothschild Wealth, that's his Roth IRA, Simping for Simo, Stolfin Amethyst, Nicholas Carpenter, Simo's Harem of Sexy Yugi-Tubers, LGMBTQ, Nim Noodle, Malabranch of the Burning Tunnel, Stella and Zoa Vermilion, Wonder Waffle, James Keen, Skull Servant, and The Wandering Doomed are boyfriends, MBT cancel by all community soon, cancel by all committee soon, cancel by all players soon, not reading cards makes the game interesting and you know it. The MBT and MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! Stands for Morbin Time, The Undertaker versus Simo and MBT, Dalton, Hunter Reed, Shrug Zyx, The Crystal Beast Enthusiast, ITF, Corvain, Dark Echo, TG Starman, Seamoose Engage, Viso the V, Wacky Waving, Arm Fiddling, Inflatable 2 Men selling crudely painted, not so funny plywood cutout folk art, and hatformat.com. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we will see you next time.